About 10 months ago, this Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV was dragged out of a barn where it had been sitting untouched for about 40 years. When I first saw it, it was dusty and tired, but underneath all of that dust and grime, I knew that there was something special. Since then, it's been completely stripped, and over the last 10 months, we've been replacing panels, repairing metalwork, and bringing it back to solid foundations. Now, in order to keep the budget under control, I have painted the engine bay, the interior, and the boot myself. But today, we've hit a massive milestone, because this Alfa is heading off to have its exterior painted in its original ochre yellow. And nice and early, Ali arrives to help transport the car to Painting Classic Cars. Now, Ali helped me rescue this car from the barn 10 months ago. So Ali, you were there when we pulled this car to the barn. When you saw it in that state, what were you thinking?
I thought it'd be a bit of a project, and I think you've definitely smashed it out of the park. Probably more than you thought as well.
Yeah.
But wow, it does look insane. I mean, the condition, the paint even underneath. I can't wait to see it when it's all going to be one colour. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's done. But Jesus, even the inside, the paint you've done on it. Yeah, I can't wait to see it, bro. It's going to be awesome, man.
With Ali's approval, it's time to get it onto the trailer. We push it out of the yard, and honestly, it's almost surprising just how easily it rolls. The steering is light, it tracks straight, and the new suspension feels incredibly cooperative. No drama, no fighting, just gentle push, and we're moving. Now, it rolled so easily and smoothly, we decided we didn't need the winch. So with a slight push, up and onto the trailer without a single complaint. Ali gets everything properly secured and all the straps tightened, and then sets off for a 2-hour drive to Painting Classic Cars, where the real transformation is about to begin. Ali arrives with the car safely on the trailer, exactly as planned, and thankfully no issues on the journey. Once we're in position, it's time to unload. But this is the moment we've been building up to. The car is now in the hands of Keith for the very first proper assessment. Fresh eyes, decades of experience, and an honest look at what we're really working with.
So it's now with us, where we're going to get it in a moment onto the scissor lift, and our first task is to whip off all of the holding primer so we can get it into Novol epoxy. Novol Classic Car Epoxy is its first stage. All the gapping is actually really good. I know that Rowan and Paul have spent a fair bit of time gapping this up, and it is looking really nice and crisp. There's a few little dents and deviations in the panels that we need to take care of before moving on through the Novol Classic Car paint process. So we'll obviously document this on our channel. Rowan will document it on his channel. So there should be a raft of information coming your way very, very soon. Very briefly, in, and as you can see, is on the ramp. But we thought we'd just pause before we rip into getting some paint off and just show you the under bonnet area, which has come up really nice and clean. And it gives you a really subtle clue as to what colour the body's going. So this is all looking nice and sharp under here. I'm pretty sure you've already done inside the cabin, haven't you, Lou? But I'll pop the boot lid as well. So if you have a quick look inside there, and then I'll set the ramp up and we'll give you all just a little detail glimpse underneath as to all the work that's gone in before the cars come to us. A lot of time and effort has gone on under here, overhauling all the suspension. Everything's been detailed, powder coated, replaced where needed and necessary. Let's say the body shell was blasted. A lot of the original gunk from underneath was painstakingly peeled and scraped off. And it's all finished in body colour, which is just going to complete the lovely job that we're about to carry out on the car for Rowan.
With Keith's initial assessment done, I arrived to talk through the process that the car will go through. I'm greeted by this very rare Lotus, which we'll come back to later on when we do a proper tour of Painting Classic Cars. It's really exciting because we'll also cover the cars I've been watching for months on the Painting Classic Cars channel. So Keith, you've now seen the cars come in, and you know, you've given us your assessment of the car, but can you please tell us what stages and what this car will now go through as part of your Novol Classic Car program?
Yep, absolutely. Thankfully, you've done most of the hard work. We get the easy bit now. What we now do is, as you say, you've got a protective primer coating throughout all of the outer body, which is great. It's done its job. We now need to get rid of that. So what we'll do is quite aggressively mechanically sand it back. You've obviously had it blasted, which is brilliant, because we've found a few bits and pieces which the blasting's really been beneficial with. So we'll DA all of this off. So we'll go back to nice clean steel everywhere. We'll have the panels off because you've already fitted and gapped. So we know the fitting and the gap's really good. We'll mark up where they are. All goes back to bare metal. What we'll then do is, again, I know you've used a rust converter on this, but we will go over it again with ours. Belt and braces, we use Furtan, so we'll coat all of the slightly questionable areas in Furtan, just to make sure we've got all the all traces of oxidization out of there. That will convert it into a zinc phosphate. And then we begin our Novol process, which I know you see our videos, you're probably tired of hearing the process, but we use an anti-corrosion primer. So that goes onto all your bare steel straight off the bat. So everything's protected and it's encased in the point with the anti-corrosion epoxy is it hermetically seals. So we're not going to get any moisture or contaminant on the steel. From that stage, we'll then put it all back together again. So all your panels will go back on, and we do any leveling or shaping work that we need to do. It's in great shape. There's a few little wobbles here and there. So we go through with Novol's own products again with that. A lot of what we use now is a fiberglass paste rather than the old polymer type, because again, it works with the epoxy and it doesn't absorb any moisture.
Okay.
So throughout our full process here, we'll be making sure we don't have moisture or contaminants within any of the process. Once we're all shaped up, we'll probably go with a polyester as well, which is like a finishing coat. So the whole thing will get a uniform coat of polyester, which just makes sure we can refine all the shapes and edges just how they should be. Then we go back with the epoxy, a top coat primer. All of these stages are done with the car fully assembled, so that we are, for want of a better term, we're sculpting the whole thing as you will finally see it. Top coat primer, we flatten all that down and prepare that in a 500. Then we take the whole thing apart again and we colour it as an individual. So we're not going to metallic colour. We'd break it down into an individual, even if it was a metallic colour. As you've seen with the Lotus next to us here, that's all done. But we break it down and we'll paint inside and out, bonnet, boot and doors.
Yep.
Paint the body with all the shuts and so on being painted up as well. Flattening and polishing and then reassembly. Ready for you to come and take away and begin the fun bit of putting it all back together.
Good, thank you, I can't wait.
Oh, you can.
Okay, so Keith, one of the concerns I had was that when they sandblasted, it left this very rough edging. I called it a rash. I think you said it's pitting. And it's basically on all the panels that I haven't replaced, but it's the ones we sandblasted.
Yeah.
Do you think that will be an issue?
We're not overly concerned. Because you've had it blasted, wherever it's weak, the blasting has gone through. So there's a couple of areas by the gutter trim there. So tiny little repairs there. The blasting has taken out all of the corrosive material, which has left all this cratering. So we've been a little bit aggressive. I don't have anything to hand here, but as an example, as we go around and we just check the stability of all of this with a hard pick, pushing into any areas, and there's no perforation, there's no movement, it is stable. So what we're doing in these areas now is that's where we'd really focus on the Furtan once all the primer's off. So you've got your holding primer, we get that off, treat that with the Furtan, just a belt and braces conversion into a zinc phosphate, and then having had a chat with Novol, they've seen this as well, and they're quite happy that the anti-corrosion epoxy that we use is more than up to the job of taking care of this and giving a solid foundation. Once we've done that, because it is minor, it's not a case of then applying a lot of filler work. The polyester spray that we're talking about doing and the products themselves, which being epoxy, the difference being epoxy doesn't shrink or move. It creates a really firm foundation, whereas the old acrylic primers would tend to shrink, move and absorb moisture. So all of this is going to be taken care of with the correct procedure using the Fertan corrosion converter and the anti-corrosion epoxy primers.
With a clear plan of action now in place for my GTV, Keith takes us on a tour of the workshop. And this is where you really see the process, with various cars at various stages, from bare metal to nearly finished. It's fascinating to see just how much work goes into doing things properly. And walking through painting classic cars really brings that to life. Okay, so Keith, I must say it's fantastic to be here because I watch all of your videos and I've seen some of these cars coming in.
Yep.
So to actually see them in person is great, but we've got to start with like the Italian cousin of the GTV, the Pantera. Can you sort of just take us through what you're doing with this car, please?
Yeah, absolutely. This belongs to quite a local customer to us, is one of only 18 right-hand drive, steel-bodied GT5Ss. So it's a rare thing. Customer's owned it nearly a year now, and he bought it needing some recommissioning work. He's had all the mechanical works done. And it looks a really pretty thing. I think everyone will agree it's a pretty looking car. But as you go round it, you'll notice there's a slight dent in the bonnet there. There's a small bit of corrosion on the bottom of that wheel arch. There's a chip in the door. There's little bits everywhere. And he said, I don't want a show winner, but the first thing he sees are all the little defects. So we're taking care of all of that. A few minor improvements along the way as well. And a full coat of colour. So with everything that we do, we're going to use the Novol process. It'll all be done in their high-end CSR clear coat, same as we're doing with yours, which the real beauty with the CSR is the UV resistance. You don't get too much fade with a yellow. Reds are horrific. So it'll go back in the original Rosso red with a CSR clear coat, which is, as I say, anti-scratch and UV resistant. So the plan is he's going to have a really usable car. It's not going to be a show queen or anything like that. He plans to be using this. So looking forward to getting this one done.
And then Keith, the Lotus, I know this has got a really interesting story. So it looks absolutely fantastic when you walk in, but...
Thank you. It's not staged to be here, it's just timing. This is chassis number 002. Which was the development car for Lotus with the Esprit. So it's an Essex, which they did in very low numbers. I think sort of 40 were eventually made, but this was the development car for Lotus, for the turbo, and it kind of disappeared. It shouldn't really exist. It's never been road registered. It left the factory and disappeared. And it disappeared to friends of ours who've had it for the best part of 40 years now. They've never driven it. It's never been on the road. As they never registered. But they've got to the point now there's a small gap in their trading with business, and they're going to push to get this all done. So we're doing the body. They've got the chassis, engine, and so on is all done, ready to go. This is pretty much the final stage. Painted body goes back to them, gets dropped onto the built chassis with the engine. And then sweet talking the DVLA into making sure it can be road registered. So a lot of work going in on a bit of a gamble, but it's been a pleasure to do.
Okay, and the XJS, which is looking absolutely fantastic under these lights.
They make a big difference. They're great, these lights. Not everything that we do comes in like your car with all the work done. This was a drive-in, drive-out situation. So it's been in one family for a good number of years now. It's a 5.3 XJS convertible, which they've had the good sense to convert to manual, which absolutely transforms the way these cars perform. It wasn't too bad. It was just quite scabby but as XJSs go, it wasn't too bad at all. So this has been stripped of all the paint, back to bare metal, full Novol process again, like we just described on your car. And we're now at the stage of just putting it all back together again. So this is as it came out the gun, as it were. We've still got to go over and do all the flattening and polishing. But before we do that, we do like to make sure all the panels are back on and everything's gapped and lined up. Don't want scratches as you go that you've got to then go back on. So get it all lined up, whiz through, flatten and polish, a few more bits and pieces to put back on it, and then it's ready to go back to the family to... and that's what's nice about this, is that the family have owned it for a while and all generations of that family get to use and enjoy it. So it'll be a nice one to see ticked off and back with them ready for the good weather that's apparently coming.
Okay, Keith, I love the story on this car. I love something that's unique. And guys, I encourage you to go and watch the video. I'm actually going to put it in a link below because you've got to hear the story of this car. But Keith, I know this one's been in here a long time.
I had hair when it came in here and it's, you know, it's going. It's unique, yes. It's unique. It's genuinely one of one. And if you go back and watch the video, there's loads of comments saying, no, I've got one of these, or I've seen one of these, or this has gone around the banger track. Almost exclusively, they're talking about the much later Avon Stevens estate. This is genuinely a one-of-one, built by Henleys of Cheshire. We know it's one of one because we've even heard from the family of the head coach builder there that did the work on this. So it's a one-of-one 1972 Series 1 Jaguar XJ6 estate. In a state. It's absolutely rotten. Yeah, we've got a lot of work ahead of us to get this one done, but it'll be something a bit special when it is done.
I mean, I look at this and I'll get a few of the B-rolls in here, but it is a state. It needs a lot of work.
It is as bad as it looks on film.
And when you guys do see this, this is the state of the touring Spider that I bought originally, so I know what it takes to bring something like this back to any form of structural integrity and being good.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking off camera about the, what's it worth and things like that. And when you're doing something like this, what's it worth doesn't really come into the equation. It's how much do you love it.
Yeah,
you can't be doing this for financial gain or financial sense. It needs to be a labour of love. It's not my labour of love.
Exactly. Well, good luck with it.
Thank you.
Okay, Keith, and then the 59 Cadillac that I've also been watching on the channel. This is a big car.
It's a big car. I don't know what to say politely about it. It's a big problem as well. It's not really a big problem. This belongs to a gentleman who is one of the most understanding and calm people I think I've ever met. Not a huge car fan or a classic car guy, but he spent a bit of time out in the States in, I think, the early 80s and fell in love with a 59 Cadillac. Promised himself one sort of heading towards retirement, that's going to be my car. And he bought this and it looked stunning. But someone had added some trim to the rear quarter panels, which he really didn't like. So it came in to have those deleted. That was a year ago. Because sadly, as anyone that watches our channel like yourself will know, that everything we took off was backfilled with expanding foam and just years and years of really quite horrific repairs. So the reason it's been a big problem for us is we schedule all our work, and this was scheduled for about 6 weeks worth of work. And when you have a car that is this big, overrun that schedule by nearly a year, that does have quite a knock-on effect. But what can you do? It's here, it's in bits, so we're pushing on. And despite current appearances, it's nearly there, believe it or not. All the welding is now done, and there's been a huge amount, and we are now into the paint stage. So all the panels are off, they've been put into the epoxy. The same process we've just described with your car, just a hell of a lot more of it. So we are on the home straight with the car despite appearances. And with any luck, this will be heading back to the customer, hopefully around April time. So, as I say, it looks like there's a long, long way to go, but it's compared to what we've had, we are on the home straight now.
A big thank you to Keith and Luke from Painting Classic Cars for taking the time to explain the full process the GTV will go through, and for showing me around the workshop and the incredible cars they're working on. Seeing the quality up close has completely reassured me that I know I've chosen the right partner for this project. So I'm back from Painting Classic Cars, and I must say it's a real mix of emotions of both excitement but also relief. I was genuinely concerned about the pitting on the roof and door skin of the car, the panels that we had sandblasted and never replaced. But after seeing everything in person and speaking it through, I'm genuinely reassured that everything is going to be okay. It was also great to finally meet Keith and the team. I've been watching their videos for so long, and I've learned so much from his straightforward, honest approach. But seeing what they do, how they do it, and realistically the end result, I can genuinely see it's next level. Now, as Keith mentioned earlier in the video, they'll be documenting the process on their YouTube channel, so I will leave a link to their channel in the description below. I will also be documenting the process right here on the channel as we go through each of the stages. Now, if you have any questions about the process or about the products or anything else, please drop them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them as we go along. And well, with the car out of the garage, I've also been able to give it a bit of a cleanup. And that floor took an absolute beating with the work that Paul and I did. So I've had a chance to have a bit of a freshen up and get the garage nice and clean for when the GTV returns and we start the reassemble process. I also wanted to say a big thank you to all of you who have supported and commented throughout this journey. I do read every single one of your comments and I really do appreciate them. So please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as we go to the next stage of this restoration, because I do think this is going to be a special transformation. So guys, thank you for watching another episode of RC Classic Garage. I really hope you have enjoyed the episode. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and see you all next time. Ciao.